कुमार साहब नायक है गोंगो लिबू लटोका रेडियो फीजी 2 में पुराना गाना लगे हमें बहुत अच्छा लगे
रेडियो फीजी 2 देश की धड़कन.
In the news tonight, water cuts frustrate residents. PRB struggles to evict unruly tenants. And ministry to decide on scholarships and loans.
From the studios of FBC Suva, Atera Lendua.
Fijians living with constant water cuts are becoming increasingly frustrated with the Water Authority of Fiji. WEF Chief Executive Barry O'Mudson admits many thousands of people are affected by these disruptions and those in higher areas suffer the longest. However, as Chosaina Nunga reports, for those having to live with these water cuts, patience is wearing thin.
Dry taps or low pressure. It's become all too common for families in Makui.
At times, I'm really frustrated with the water services in our area. Sometimes there is a water cut and many times low water pressure.
Salu says it would help if there was a prior notice, but WEF CEO Barry Albertson says the authority does not cause the disruption and can only notify customers when the situation arises. Responding to questions from FBC News, Albertson adds climate change is to blame, causing low water levels in reservoirs. For Merefusifala in the Wilevu housing, daily chores have become almost impossible.
Every day before going to work as well, we have to use water. So it's been quite a really big problem for us here in our area.
The Water Authority has not responded to a request for all the locations around Fiji which face water cuts most often. For Suva, however, the CEO says the strain on water systems is caused by more people finding their way to the capital city since COVID-19. Tuilovoni resident Tevita Vesikula believes proper maintenance and repairs is critical.
This matter shouldn't be taken lightly. Even yesterday, we were preparing for a birthday at our place in Tuilovoni when there was a water cut.
There is a $270 million rail water supply project in the pipeline for the Suva-Nosori corridor, but that won't be complete until the end of 2022. The chief executive maintains they continue to provide a large amount of free water for those earning $30,000 or less. He also highlighted that payment for water is paid as metered, meaning customers are not billed when water does not make it through their meters. Chosaina Nunga, FBC News.
The Minister for Housing wants the Public Rental Board to review the income of tenants, saying some big spenders are living in PRB flats. Minister Pramila Kumar says some tenants relying on government subsidies and social welfare assistance have been spending on immaterial things. This, according to the minister, indicates that their income may be above the threshold. Kritika Kumar reports.
The board has issued eviction notices to those breaching tenancy agreement, only to have tenants take the PRB to court.
These tenants have resources where they've taken PRB to court. They have money. They've hired lawyers to take the matter to court, despite breaching the tenancy agreement.
Kumar says they are looking at the option of issuing notices to those who have become a nuisance to other tenants, especially those raising families.
And we will come up with some strategies, and if we find that social welfare recipients and those homes who are subsidized by the government are not acting responsibly, they will be evicted.
PRB Acting General Manager Patrick Veu says they are taking legal action to remove a few families.
It's unfortunate that some extended families come in without our knowledge, and maybe these are the ones that have been causing problems in the estates.
PRB flats are not a permanent residence for any tenant and are only meant to help people save up and move out to better homes. Kritika Kumar, FBC News.
The Education Ministry will be meeting the Tertiary Scholarship and Loans Board in a few days to look at funding for this year. Permanent Secretary for Education, Dr. Angela Jokan, says they are committed to the continuity of education. $81.4 million had been allocated to higher education institutions for this financial year. Kritika Kumar reports.
An announcement on scholarships and loans for the 2021 academic year is expected days from now, with just over a week for Term 1 to begin.
There has not been any decision to hold anything. The last budget announcement was very clear about what would be funded and what wouldn't be funded. So we will be talking about it, and then we can make that, the decisions would be made public.
Jokan adds, despite the impact of COVID-19, higher education institutions saw an increase in admissions in 2020.
With respect to COVID, second semester last year, at the height of COVID, university enrollments actually went up in all the 3 universities.
She adds the increase in student numbers in semester 2 is largely because more face-to-face classes are being provided remotely via online classes. Education Minister Rosie Akbar says tertiary students need to remain positive.
We need to be positive, we need to keep our hopes high, and eventually we will be able to overcome all the challenges and sorrows that is currently plaguing especially our people here in Fiji.
Ministry executives say they are putting all their energy into schools, especially in the north and the west, to make sure children are ready when classes begin. Kritika Kumar, FBC News.
Over 100 pallets of food rations, school supplies, tarpaulins and tents are expected to reach Wanolewu and Lau in the next 2 days on the HMAS Adelaide. Commanding Officer Captain Stuart Waters says these materials are mostly non-food items and extra building materials to repair damaged schools in the north. Chasaina Nuga reports.
For the men and women of the HMAS Adelaide, their assistance is a testament of the Mawale partnership, just as Fijian soldiers helped contain Australia's bushfires last year.
We've loaded around 20 tonnes of building material and building supplies to help rebuild that school, and we also transferred about 14 tonnes of humanitarian aid stores to Nabawalu Jetty last week. So things are starting to happen. Today's obviously a big day.
Defense advisor to Fiji, Colonel Robert Hirsch, says teams with different expertise are putting in the hard yards, knowing time is not on their side, considering the extent of damage caused by TCASA.
Short, sharp and effective deployment. So it is aiming to have its task complete around about the 15th, 18th of January, which is what we were asked by the government of Fiji. And we believe that that's an achievable time frame to get these stores to the locations that they need to go by then.
He adds all relief items will accommodate the need of every Fijian in TCASA ravaged areas, including the Lau Group.
The stores that are being loaded for today are going to a number of other locations. So part of the distribution plan is they get loaded centrally onto the ship. It then sails as one big unit up to vicinity of Wanolewu, and then it will be offloaded by a number of means, whether it be by landing craft and possibly by helicopter, to a number of other locations to allow distribution by RFMF or other agencies on the ground to get to the specific school locations.
The ADF team's aim is to ensure rehabilitation is executed effectively and efficiently before school starts on the 19th of this month. Chasaina Nuga, FBC News.
Up ahead, potholes cause vehicle damage, and police band brings good cheer to the north.
मैं तो दिल्ली में रहता हूँ और रेडियो फीजी रोज सुनता हूँ.
रेडियो फीजी 2 देश की धड़कन.
Motor vehicle repair shops are seeing more and more vehicles being damaged by potholes, sometimes costing hundreds of dollars to fix. Dipesh Kumar reports vehicle owners are frustrated with the potholes and the dent it's putting in their pockets.
Garages in the Suva area are seeing more vehicles every day coming in with damage caused by potholes.
Most inexpensive thing that can go bad with the pothole is a small debushing, or the biggest thing could be a steering rack. So basically, in a day we get about maybe close to 5 or 10 vehicles due to potholes that we see every day actually.
Daily wise, 2 to 3 vehicles. Sometimes we attend in breakdowns, especially in wet conditions. Sometimes even heavy rains, and even hot sunny days also we are getting pothole damages. Some drivers even visibility wise very hard to detect the potholes.
According to the repair shops, potholes don't just damage second-hand or older vehicles, even new vehicles get bent banging into potholes.
The least amount they could pay is maybe $25, going to the most to $1,000.
Roughly normal repairs going to be $20 to $200. It depends on the model, especially our premium vehicles starting from $100 per the tire. It's definitely more than $250 to $300 for expensive cars.
While garages may be making a killing, potholes are a financial burden for vehicle owners who have to fork out more for maintenance.
And with these potholes on the road, it's really costing because you have to put food on the table for your family and expenses on maintenance of the cars.
So I remember last month I had to change both of the front tires because the car fell in the potholes, and what happened was that it burst.
The increase of potholes on the roads is costing me a lot of money and a lot of damage on my car, especially with maintenance.
The Fiji Roads Authority says the unavailability of bitumen has delayed the repair of potholes. It also says the weather conditions and overloaded vehicles are some of the causes of potholes. Dipesh Kumar, FBC News.
More than 300 plants believed to be marijuana were uprooted from a farm in a Kandava village last Thursday. The raid was conducted following a tip-off to police. The plants ranged from 57 centimeters to more than 3 meters. Chief Operations ACP Abdul Khan acknowledged support from the public and has assured that all information will be treated with confidentiality. ACP Khan adds the institution maintains the no drug policy. If any officer is found to be involved in drug-related activities, they will be removed from the institution. 7,000 people in TC ravaged areas were assisted with food and basic needs by the Sai Prema Foundation Fiji, Lakshmi Narayan Temple and Hanuman Chalisa Pariwar. The 30 people traveled from Suva to deliver buckets of food, building kits, sanitary items, clothes and other materials. Sai Prema Foundation Director Sumit Tapu says they were saddened by the plight of the people who have lost everything in the cyclone. Tapu adds, however, that he was amazed at the grit and positivity of people.
It's truly heartbreaking, but I was quite stunned by the spirit of these people, despite the fact that there's so much damage and so much they've lost. There was still that attitude of never giving up, and of hope and faith.
The foundation is planning 2 more distributions in Vanua Levu as well as the outer islands as far as the Lau group. It's not all gloom and doom in the cyclone-ravaged parts of Vanua Levu. The Fiji Police Band brought smiles and laughter to the affected communities with their renowned marching and dancing skills. Eleanor Turangaiviu has more.
After the devastation caused by Category 5 tropical cyclone Yasa, the Fiji Police Band this week visited the affected communities.
Here to also to thank members of the Fiji Police Force who are here doing rehabilitation to the affected areas, and at the same time we are trying to strengthen community outreach.
From Maduata, the band made it right across to the province of Moa, the most affected by tropical cyclone Yasa, visiting villages to display their marching and dancing skills, bringing laughter and smiles all around.
The cyclone Yasa, it came during our festive time. It didn't dampen the spirit as we came around doing marching displays, and we were thankful that we can see positive results from them, bring back some hope and some smiling faces.
For villagers, the entertainment by the Fiji Police Band has been refreshing, and for many, it made them forget for a while the struggles and hardship at hand as they continue to rebuild their lives.
You can see the reaction of the villagers here. It's true that TCASA hit us and some are still affected by what happened. But having the band here in the village makes all that go away, and we are very happy.
The band also performed at various tropical cyclone Yasa operation centers, Children's Home, Old People's Home, and the main town centers in Ponolevu, Lambasa, Sengangan, Riketi, and Savo. Eleanor Turangaiwiu, FBC News.
And now to the U.S. There is mounting pressure tonight on President Donald Trump to resign or face impeachment over the deadly riot at the Capitol. It comes as disturbing news footage shows a policeman appearing to be crushed during the violence. Coming up in sports, Skipper Cup date set for April. And Kasavo FC remain unbeaten in National Club Championship. This and more coming up.
कुमार सर नायकर गोमवा लुगु लटोका रेडियो फीजी 2 में पुराना गाना लगे हमें बहुत अच्छा लगे
रेडियो फीजी 2 देश की धड़कन.
The date for one of Fiji's prestigious domestic rugby competitions, the Skipper Cup, has been set. April 10th was confirmed as the official kickoff date at the Fiji Rugby Union Special General Meeting in Lami today. Karlani Tavi reports.
Suva, a champion.
Newcomers Rewa will be the first team to challenge the Fairbrother Sullivan Trophy against current holders Nandi on the 10th of April.
There were suggestions to increase the team, but the board and likewise this morning endorsed that we will continue with the 8 teams. Competition will kick off on the, I think on the 10th of April.
Discussions are still underway for a separate women's competition if sponsors endorse the proposal from the Fiji Rugby Union.
Discussions also happened today about a separate women's competition. There were a lot of complaints raised by women. We're having discussions with the sponsors. The endorsement today is if we have a separate sponsor, then we will run a separate women's competition.
Suva's goals have not changed for 2021. Preparations to defend the title have already been mapped out.
We will be starting from next week. We will be starting our off-season program. Off-season and pre-season, and also we hope to start our club competition in February to ensure that our players have over 1.5 months of game time before they start the Skipper Cup competition.
The Vodafone Vanua Cup will have a similar format to last year, with Lautoka and Esawa joining the B division after being relegated from the Skipper Cup. Karlini Tavi, FBC Sports.
The Sharma Hangers Kasavu side got off to a perfect start in the Vodafone National Club Championship. The Rewa side, or based side, beat Lautoka's Press FC club 2-0 in Singotoka today. Felipe Naikaso has more.
Despite their 2-0 win today, the Kasavu side will be looking to polish up a number of areas ahead of their next game.
Yeah, I think it's more than 50% place where we have to improve. Like we playing one-touch football, the other team are disturbing us. So we have to adapt the pattern where other clubs are playing.
The Rewa-based side opened their account in the first half through Patrick Joseph and sealed the match in the second half with another goal to Gabriele Matinisinga.
I think it's a good start. Like we already qualified for the semi-final after winning the first game. I think we are positive. I think we'll move forward as a one-by-one game.
Kasavu FC dominated majority of the game as they pressured Press FC numerous times.
Our main aim in this tournament is we need to keep on winning and try to take the title back home. So the game tomorrow we'll try to give 100%.
Press FC club was also bundled out of the tournament after losing their second game today. The championship will continue tomorrow. Philip and Ikaso, FBC Sports.
Athletics Fiji anticipates an exciting 2021 season despite a low turnout of athletes in its first competition of the year. President Filimoni Wuliwanga says they're starting their competitions early as they have other events lined up, including schools' athletics meets. He says they expect numbers to increase in the upcoming competitions.
Probably see that the turnout today is not as good as it used to be. This is normal because this is the first competition that we are having for the year. For 2021, this is our first competition. And I think a lot of people are still enjoying the new year. And this is normal for us.
The Lions basketball girls team has created history, winning the Under-17 title in the inaugural Cam Pacific Basketball Championship. The girls from Suva Grammar School defeated powerhouse Yetsen Dragons 26-18 in the final today. Tale Materukula reports.
The message was simple: take control of the game and trust each other.
Cut and pass. Just trust each other. Once you pass the ball, you cut in front of the person to take a shot.
I've told them today to change the way they play because we've been playing them for the last 2 days and they've improved on that and I'm really proud of it.
It was the support from fans and families that pushed the Lions to victory.
It was the driving factor behind the win today, and I would like to thank the supporters, especially the parents, for supporting the kids in this tournament.
The words that the parents were shouting from outside, it did encourage one another. We trust each other. Once we hold the ball, we took the shot.
Savoring the sweet taste of victory, the Lions have set themselves up for a successful season with one tournament title in the bag. Pale Materukula, FBC Sports.
Cricket Fiji started 2021 with its T20 Suva Club competition today. A total of 4 teams took part at Albert Park in Suva. Fiji Cricket Chief Executive Alex Conrote says this is just the beginning of what is expected to be a busy season for cricket in the country. Though Cricket Fiji is behind schedule in terms of competitions, Conrote is optimistic that everything will fall into place once the season progresses.
We're happy to be starting our competition again, continuing from last year. So catching up on all the teams that are a few games behind. Not all the teams are playing today. Some of the teams are still out in the islands, coming back next week.
Liverpool is now through to the FA Cup 4th round after a comfortable 4-1 victory over valiant young Aston Villa side today. Villa stunned the visitors when 17-year-old Louis Barry scored the equaliser in the first half, but this was not enough as the Reds exerted more pressure in the second half, scoring 3 goals in a 5-minute spell after the break. Some showers and isolated afternoon thunderstorms were experienced over Vanolevu. Fine weather prevailed elsewhere. Looking at the west, mostly fine with a chance of evening thunderstorms. Eastwards from Pacific Harbour to Suva, a fine sunny Saturday. And up north, some showers with a forecast of more rain later tonight. At sea, northeast winds 10 to 15 knots, moderate seas, poor visibility in areas of heavy showers and thunderstorms. Turning to the tides, low tide is at 10:26 tonight, with high tide at 4:50 a.m. Sunrise is at 6:44. For tomorrow, some showers over the eastern parts and interior of the larger islands. Elsewhere, afternoon or evening showers and thunderstorms. Outlook for Monday, no major change expected. Recapping our main stories, water cuts frustrate residents, PRB struggles to evict unruly tenants, and Ministry to decide on scholarships and loans. For these stories and others, you can tune in daily to our sister radio station, Gold FM. To our poll question this week, we're asking, do you think the extension of the Rent Freeze Act is in everyone's best interest? Visit our FBC website to answer. You can send us newsworthy pictures or videos on email FBC News at fbc.com.fj, or share it with us via our various social media accounts, including Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. That's your news this evening. I'll see you again tomorrow. Wadimanda.
Baik tu Dendi berkata रेडियो फिजी बहुत रेडियो फिजी रोज सुनता हूँ.
रेडियो फीजी 2 देश की धड़कन.